Welcome to CCRPG, where we open up our virtual table and play games with some good friends. I'm Bob, and I'll be running Lancer. I'm joined today by Todd, portraying Astro Jamin.
Heidi-ho.
Chuck, portraying Evelene Bolick.
That's me.
Jeremy, portraying Dyne Starseeker.
Hello.
And Jay, portraying Steve Starling.
Hody hi.
Last time, our pilots spent their time at 70.106, trying to determine the root cause for what's behind Project Rebirth. They found numerous oddities, but nothing that would warrant the scale of deception they've seen. One of their leads, Steve's recent acquaintance from his time undercover in jail, Zippo Edge, is one of the heavily augmented prisoner laborers found on site. Complicating their efforts are the augments themselves, the segmentation tether. These malicious devices segment their victim's mind into discrete, controllable pieces and tie into their lungs, allowing them to work unquestioning in hostile environments. By the end, we saw Zippo segment as he entered the factory, giving Evelene the slip and leaving her trapped to explore alone. Welcome back, pilots.
Hi.
Hey.
Another thing.
Everything's going well.
Another thing I didn't state at the end there that's very important is also the location of our other three pilots. To get everyone back on board, Evelene, you are in the factory. Zippo has just taken off into the darkness alone. Dyne, you are just outside the factory, having watched Evelene and Zippo go in and the doors lock behind them. And then Astro and Steve, you have just bought your crew an additional 3 hours by successfully not over-concerning the people on the other end of the check-in. They seem concerned still, but perhaps you hope it is concern for ineptitude and not concern for infiltration.
Concern, like, how did this guy make it through training?
Right. And then that is where we are picking back up. I am ready to start with any of you. So who's the most raring to go as we start the session today?
Well, the last thing I did was call for help, so probably not me.
Okay.
I mean, I can go, I guess.
Well, I think Dyne is right. Your call for help was basically what? You reaching out to Astro?
Astro, I'm like, Astro, Evelene is now locked in. I can't figure it out. Come help.
Okay, then Astro gets that and he's like, oh my, for goodness sake, I'm on my way.
Astro, it's a door. Charm it, please.
You have to take it slow with the doors. You know, they don't like to be rushed into anything.
I don't have that kind of experience. I'm sorry.
So, Astro, you are at the admin building with Steve as you get this call.
I'll just say this. Yeah.
I was just going to say the two of you are still in the control nexus from which you took the call.
That's right. I'll say to Steve, well, new development. Evelene got stuck inside. I'll radio back Dyne and say, where's Zippo? He's still in there, right?
He went in with Evelene.
Okay.
Or rather, he opened the door and Evelene followed.
Okay, well, good. At least they're inside. Okay, I'll head over there. Steve, do you want to come along, or do you have other things you want to do here in the control nexus?
This is a control room, mostly, right? I'm assuming there's not a lot of, like, information kept here.
Well, actually, I think a fun thing to get before you determine that is I want both of you to give me a pilot check to see if you just passively noticed something. So if you have a skill trigger that helps with you just like notice something out of the corner of your eye, then I can add that as a bonus.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything like that. So.
Closest I have is investigate, which I don't think
that's
applies.
a little bit more intentional.
Yeah.
So just a straight pilot check from the two of you then.
Okay. I rolled we both rolled very well. I rolled a 4 and Steve rolled a 1.
Wow. Okay. Well, what I will say
We
then
have other
in
things
answer,
on our mind, okay?
in answer to you, Steve, then, that is correct. This is mostly a control room from what you were able to tell from your time in here. It was mostly for setting up things like, opening doors or like communicating back for the check-in, doing things like setting schedules and things like that. So that is mostly what this room is. It's not like a repository of any sort.
All right, then yeah, I'll go with Astro.
Okay. As the two of you leave, are you both just leaving the admin building and heading for the factory then?
Can I, if I started like a session on the computer, can I like log off?
Yeah, you would have had to have opened it up. Surprisingly, Astro, it was not difficult for you to do so. There is something odd about the way you got into this computer that seemed very much like, well, if you're in this room, you must have been intended to use this computer, which is very bad OPSEC. So you're not sure why it works that way.
Yeah. That's not industry best practice.
It is not. No. There is an oddness to how it let you log in so quickly.
Yeah. Interesting. Good to know. Yeah, so I'll kind of like end my session on the computer. I'll let Dyne know we're on our way. And yeah, just heading straight out of the admin building to the factory or whatever it was that they go to work.
Yeah, that is correct. That is the factory where Zippo said his last work day was.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's jump over to Evelene. Since everyone is accumulating outside of the factory, let's jump inside the factory and see what you're doing.
I'm looking at this heat map I've got, and I'm trying to figure out where I need to go from here.
Okay, what are you trying to determine?
I guess I'm trying to figure out, one, where I am in relationship to the map, and two, where the most activity is. At least I want to go in that general direction.
Okay, like where Zippo spent most of his day yesterday is where you're trying to get to. Okay,
correct.
So yeah, if that is the case, then you don't need to follow this like a treasure map. You know what I mean? It's not like you need to follow the dotted line and trace his path. If you're just trying to navigate directly to the splotch of map where he spent the most time yesterday, you can kind of go directly there. You can definitely tell that he started here where you're entering right now. And I wouldn't say his route through the factory was circuitous, but it was definitely not linear. It was a lot of doubling back over pathways, going to places, spending some time there, and then going somewhere else. So if you want to spend a significant amount of time to get to where you're going, you could follow his path to get there. That would require no check. It would just take additional time. If you want to trailblaze your own path to get directly to that area, I will need a pilot check of some sort.
I'm gonna laugh when this heat map shows that he spends like 90% of his time in a break room.
Yeah.
I was thinking that.
It may be a soul-breaking prison labor camp, but damn, don't they have good breaks.
some
really good
coffee.
Yeah,
I
good
assume.
coffee, surprisingly. They bought a fancy espresso machine.
We may be using slaves, but we're not monsters.
Yeah.
I kind of expect his routing to be like a family circus style thing.
It is kind of that, yeah.
Fucking Jeffy. Yeah, I'm going to try to trailblaze, so that'll be a pilot check.
What are you going to use to try and help you get to where your destination is?
I don't have a skill trigger that would apply here.
That's fine. There's always the option to go without.
I mean, I have word on the street.
Actually,
I guess.
what I'm going to give you is accuracy on the roll because of your background as a worker. You are not unaccustomed to walking through like refineries back on your home planet where the raw ore would like come in to get processed and things like that from your mining operations. So even though this factory is much larger and more obtuse than what you're used to, there is kind of a logistical sense that you have to you that allows you to like be like to like eliminate a few pathways that you otherwise might waste your time on.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, so that's a D20 plus a
That's
D6.
right. 14. With that, it is exactly what I had said, basically. What happens is you blaze your way through the factory, not going back over Zippo's trail, but finding a way that you think would make sense to get there. And you only get turned around once, but it's not like bad. It's not like you wasted a ton of time. You go down one kind of set of walkways that takes you out over top of what look to be these giant processing buildings that are like turning what appear to be bars, like steel bars into steel rods, right? You see this giant machine, and then steel bars are coming into one side, and then steel rods are coming out the other side, right? And you're like, okay, well, I can take this walkway that goes over top of it, and then you realize the walkway doesn't connect, and you're like, I can see where I'm trying to go. It's right there. And then you have to walk all the way back around to go around it, but you only waste like 10 minutes doing that. But yeah, no, you get there in much less time than it would take you otherwise. What you find, though, is that when you try to get to the place where Zippo was spending most of his time, you see a large glass wall that has a reading device, a kind of a gateway filled with machinery at the center. And over the top, it says ST8.
Okay. That's just the label on the machine?
That is the label above the machine doorway. This very much looks like the other gateways that when people walk through them, if they have a segmentation tether, they get segmented.
Oh, okay.
It looks
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that in this facility that you already had to get segmented to go into, there is yet another segment gateway that goes from the outer factory into whatever this large area is.
That's got to be a lot of data storage.
It is
all these different segmentations.
Yeah, it's your mind races at the implications of like how much can you splinter someone without like ruining them.
I mean, we've all seen Voldemort, and you see how that turned out for him. I'm going to go through the doorway then.
All right. You, not having a segmentation tether, have no ill effects to walking through the door. You just walk through. You see the little lights flash on the doorway as you pass. You enter. And what you find on the other side of the doorway, because it was a glass wall, you could see this anyway, is unfortunately an actual physical gateway. It appears to be some sort of airlock mechanism where it's like a big door that closes, it's like the kind that close in the center. So it's like two sliding doors that close and then kind of lock together. That's in front of you. To the right of this large door, there is not a thing on the wall. There is an actual podium, like a podium sticking up on the ground that is slightly angled to look up like at your face if you were to go stand in front of it, almost like it was, built to interact with in front of this door.
So I probably need Zippo or someone else with a segmentation tether to get through this airlock.
You're not sure because you don't know what opens this door. All you see is that little pedestal there. You could try interacting with it. You're not sure what it does yet.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
You take a look at it, and it does seem to be a relatively simple device. It seems to be linked to the door in some way. You can very much tell you're not sure how it activates, but it seems to be some sort of sensor or security thing or something. It appears that this You're not sure how it's even interacted with, because it almost seems like circuitry, like almost like that kind of screen you see where it's like screen circuitry, where you can't tell, like, am I supposed to scan something on this? Am I supposed to put my hand on this? Am I supposed to bring something near this? Is this a near field thing? You're not sure what this podium is looking for because there's no text or anything on it. It just looks like some sort of circuitry screen that is supposed to interact with something. But whatever it is, you don't know.
Okay. Is there any I'm guessing no, but are there any signs or like any other clues in the surrounding area that would help me get an idea what is going on around here?
I mean, it would just take a little bit of time to like look around. It doesn't take long to find something, which is kind of like it's like when you see like sections denoted in like big factories and stuff. You know that that this whatever section you're going into, aside from just knowing that ST8 gate leads into here, there is a giant sign, not a sign so much, but like spray painted on the metal with like forms and stuff to look professional, is like a number and letter designation. It's A4705.
Okay. I don't think we've heard of that before.
No, this should be brand new to you.
Okay. I can't remember. Am I able to communicate from here, or is there some sort of separation with the doors?
I don't think you tried as of the end of last session.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Wait.
You try to open up your radio, and as soon as you try to get the channel, static comes back at you.
Okay, never mind.
It appears that the inside of this facility is shielded.
Makes sense. Evelene scratches her head for a minute. Are there any service doors or vents or anything of that nature?
I think for that, if you're trying to find an alternate route of entry, I would ask for a pilot check.
Okay. I'm just looking at what I got. I feel like this is some form of creativity. I feel like creative engineering may be too vague.
I can think of how creative engineering could be a check. If you're willing to go with it, but it does make the check dangerous.
Understandable.
I can tell you what it would be ahead of time, and then you have to decide if you're willing to take the risk.
Sure.
You are able to, with your creative engineering, think, okay, well, if factory things are happening back there, the materials being made in the rest of this factory need to get back there somehow. So if I follow the line of like the materials on the conveyor belts going into that section, there should be an entry point. Like these steel bars need to get back there somehow. These steel rods need to get back there somehow. You don't know what machines they will go through to get back there, though. Some of them might be dangerous for you. The reason that I can make this a creative engineering check is I would be willing to say, if you are successful, you could figure out a way to deactivate one of the machines that goes into that section in such a way that you could try to quickly traverse along the what are they called? Conveyor belts?
The entry feed?
Yeah, you could try to quickly get along the conveyor belts that go back there while the machine is turned off.
Okay. I don't know if this would help at all, but in terms of like if speed is a factor here, could I also use my grapple gun to, like, for example, like hypothetically, there's like a press going up and down on a
It is
conveyor
exactly
belt.
something like that. It's either a press going up or down, or a furnace that is occasionally going off. Like you see two like steel windows close, and you hear whoosh, like the sound of heavy fire, and then both windows open back up, and then the thing moves to the next thing. Right? Like it is either furnaces or pressing machines or chopping machines. Whatever it is dangerous to life and limb.
Okay, so I'm thinking that if I figure out a way to disable that temporarily, I could use the grapple gun to clear the danger zone faster than I would be if I was walking or running.
I would absolutely be willing to give you accuracy on the check for the use of the grapple gun.
Okay, so it'd be creative engineering with accuracy, but it is a dangerous roll.
It is a dangerous roll, meaning that even on a 10 through 20, you succeed, but something bad happens.
I think I'm willing to chance that because my modifier for creative engineering is a 6.
You should be good at this.
I should be good at this. Air quote should.
I like how many problems Evelyn solves with the grappling gun. Freaking Darkwing Duck over here.
To be fair, if any of us had a grapple gun, we'd be looking for problems to solve with a grappling gun.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Look, I have a hammer. I'm looking for the nails. Okay, yeah, I'll chance it. So I forget how this works. You click the button and it says if you have accuracy. Yeah, okay. Whew. Well, here goes something. Fuck me, 15.
All right. Well, that was you rolled a 3 on your D20 roll, so
Was that a 3?
that didn't help.
Oh my
Luckily,
God.
you rolled a
Yeah.
6 on your accuracy roll, so that really saved things. Plus the
3
fact
was
that you have
the
a 6
minimum roll
naturally.
to pass to actually get a passing grade on that, though. Because
That's true.
I want to roll that again just to make myself feel better.
You
I would have a 20.
you never roll twice, because now you're just going to feel bad you didn't get that the first time.
Yeah, you should have rolled a 20, stupid.
Yeah.
Why don't you just roll that? Look, it's right there.
Well, here. Well,
Roll better, forehead.
Well, I got a secret. I always feel bad, so nothing's going to change.
Well, here's what happens then, Evelyn.
Okay.
You find a machine that is exactly the kind of industrial press that you're talking about. You see that, okay, these rods are like being fed into a machine, and you're like, okay, I can't go in that way because it only is big enough for the rods to be fed in, because it's like threading the rods together and then pressing them out in a weird way. So you have to go through this section that actually where the press goes, which is also being fed with like a weird circuitry board that is being like almost kind of like soldered onto whatever the plate they're pressing is. You're not sure why they're doing it this way, but you can tell these metal pipes may not be steel like you originally thought they were. They just have the look of steel. You are able to time it for, okay, I can go ahead and deactivate this machine. It has like a little emergency button that's like, okay, stop the press. It's one of those things you slap when you're like, okay, I need to realign something. But it doesn't give you a ton of time, and that opening looks tight. You go ahead and throw your grapple gun up into your hands and shoot it through the hole, hoping to latch onto something on the other side. You try to basically pull yourself through the opening, also using the grapple gun as leverage to help you get through as fast as you can. And you do. You do get through. The press turns on behind you. You're like, oh, whew, I made it. Thank goodness. And then you try to like, pull your grapple gun back up and get it re-equipped. And your grapple gun is stuck to something.
Oh no.
And then you turn around and you try to yank on it again. And you hear a distant machine start whir up. As the tension from the grapple gun's line yanks it out of your hand, as you see your grapple gun fly off into the distance and get pulled into a giant compactor as you watch it get crushed.
I think every time I've used it, I immediately lost it afterward.
Well, no more skill challenges for Evelyn this session.
You make it such a juicy target. It was either hurt you or take a piece of resource away. And
No, this is a better option.
No,
of just
everyone's like,
laughing
I'd
at the
rather
pattern.
die.
I mean, I have 2 legs. I only need 1.
We're in the future. I can get a robot leg.
You can just attach the grapple hook to your leg. That way you'll have even more reason to use it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was a character
Well,
in something that had a peg leg, but it was a grapple gun, and I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Anyway.
I'm fine with this outcome.
But yeah, you watch your grapple gun get yanked out of your hand and get pulled into a machine. Evelene, as you look around, the machinery in here is much more complex, and the room you're in is much more pristine. And the machines seem to be machining things much more identifiable for you.
Okay.
You take a look around and you find a machine that's, taking rods and plates and building sort of like, these are like dense armor, like reactive armor plates. And you take a look at another thing where things are coming in and like, okay, like there's a part of this machine that is totally boxed away. Like you can't interact with part of the machine, and there are radiation sticker warnings all over that part of the machine. And then the other part of the machine where you can see what's coming in is like raw materials, like casings. And then you see the finished product come out going into these large storage boxes. And you realize these are like radioactive armor piercing rounds. These are like depleted nuclear weapon rounds. You start seeing these armored plates go along these things and get packaged into like a large cube that is like for shipment somewhere. The same with these bullets. These armaments are being packed somewhere. And at the far end of the facility, you are seeing engines being built. Like legitimately, it's not like the conveyor belts. They're not like feeding the engines. The conveyor belts aren't building an engine, but they are pulling resources from various parts of the factory, and they're kind of set up to have all these bays where you can tell there are people that are supposed to be like seated in these various like control centers, basically doing work to like pull materials off these lines and do complex, precise assembly work, building what you as the engineer you are able to identify as like, these are like ship engines. They're gigantic. Like they take up the back half of the room. These in-process, in-construction ship engines. And then you try to identify as like, okay, but where would I have seen these before? Evelene, make me a pilot check to see if you can identify them.
Word on the street?
If that's all you have, I'll accept a word on the street.
That's all I have. 24.
With a 24, Evelene, you have heard this through hearsay and gossip from just people you know. Because you've seen people in construction like build things before. These are like above and beyond what you would see civilians have access to. These are meant for like combat frigates or cruisers or military vessels of some sort. These are the kind of things that you would need to have basically clearance from the military to get a hold of.
Okay. That's interesting. I feel like this is a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do we have cameras? I mean, I assume that our tech is like cell phones, so there should be a camera built in.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can take a picture of anything. It's just...
I'm taking a few pictures.
He's brought a Polaroid camera for this specific
but
situation.
Remember, you don't have a phone.
Yes.
It would be whatever your data slate or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like I assume data slates have cameras.
Keep in mind that in this world, cell service, for example, is not everywhere. You're on a planet that shouldn't exist. Like, you're able to shortwave radio to each other, but that's still radio technology. You know what I mean? It's not like the corporations built a cell phone tower on this planet. Like, something like a cell phone would ever only exist on heavily populated planets. Otherwise, you can only communicate with things that are, quote unquote, within your sensor range, because that's the range your specific device can broadcast. That's why only someone like Astro, who has a data hook, can communicate with things far away, because that data hook is literally hooked into something that allows him to communicate with the other side. Anything you would have personally on you that you haven't spent an equipment slot for can probably go less range than whatever your mech's sensor range is.
Gotcha. Yeah, cell phone was probably the wrong choice of words.
But yeah, you probably have something that can take images.
My pen. They invented cameras on pens recently. It's the future. It can happen. So I'm just capturing some evidence. I think it's going to be. I don't think I'm going to be able to get back here, so I should try to get as much as I can while I'm here.
Now we know what you've been doing for the past 30 minutes, 40 minutes. While you were doing that, the other three of you will have reconvened outside. This is far earlier than 30 minutes have passed. Astro and Steve, the two of you are able to hustle on over to the entrance of the factory to meet up with Dyne in about 4 or 5 minutes, really. You just kind of drop what you're doing, log out, and, hike across the campus.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and at some point I would have tried to radio Evelene.
It's just you don't get a response.
Yeah, and I figured that happened, but he would have tried that. And so he's like, maybe the facility is shielded, so you can't communicate with outside. That's going to make things even more difficult.
I want to also keep in mind that the buildings you've been to are only a fraction of the buildings that are on this industrial campus. Evelene is in a factory. There are 6 other factories.
One of many. Okay.
You guys were in a residential tenement building. There are 6 other residence buildings that you haven't been in.
Yeah.
There's only one admin building. You guys went to the admin building. But keep in mind these other buildings, this is a whole industrial center that was built up in a combination of new buildings, like the factories, or refurbished old buildings like the tenement buildings that have been basically cut into with their newer stuff installed into them.
Gotcha.
Speaking of, can I check one of the tenement buildings? Not go to, but just keep an eye on to see if I can see movement in people leaving or anything now that the alarms are off.
Now that the alarms are off, I said it only took you 4 or 5 minutes to get to the entrance of the factory. The answer is no. You don't see any movement.
Okay.
Good to know. Once we get there, I'll say to Dyne, all right. So the door closed. The door closed behind Evelene and Zippo. Did you try anything to get in, or did you just wait for us?
I tried some cursory attempts to open the door, but once I realized it would probably require hacking, because it looked like only Zippo was able to pass through. I decided just probably leave it to someone who's more experienced in that area.
Last time when Zippo did go through, just can you remind me, how did the door open? Did he just walk up to the door and it opened for him, or did he have to scan something?
No, it just opened for him.
It just opened for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'll say there must be some sort of sensor or face recognition that it uses to open the door for employees. They did have to. Employees do have to sign in at that one checkpoint, right? Or they have to
where you are meeting Dyne is like a little security checkpoint in front of the factory. Yes.
Yeah. So Astro says, well, let's see, maybe I can get the door open from this security checkpoint here.
It probably reads the segmentation tether that they have for when employees go, but I'm assuming the other people that are here don't have that, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, but there must be a way for like, there's probably people in charge or whatever that aren't segmented.
Exactly, they have to have a way to get in somehow.
Yeah, exactly. If possible, maybe we can spoof that somehow. Let me see what I can do. Let me work my magic as he cracks his fingers, puts on his hacker gloves. Although what he's probably going to do first is check if he can. Wait, did something happen to my subjectivity enhancement suite? Didn't it burn out or something?
Yeah, I think it burnt out.
Okay, so yeah, I can't do that. Yeah, last time I did something.
You have not had a downtime that would have allowed you to repair it. I don't think.
Yeah, that's right. All right.
I mean, worst comes to worst, I could always blow open the door with my mech, but that's probably a last-ditch effort.
Yeah, your mechs are relatively nearby. They're like over at the entrance to the campus, so they're like a 5 to 10 minute walk away from where you stand.
I have to imagine that's going to bring alarms back up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Like I said, it's a last resort if we feel like we have no other option.
Maybe do that and bail.
Just as long as CHIMERA's not near the door.
How'd you make it back? We were worried about you.
Well, you know, there's a manhole cover over there. I just came out of that while you guys were talking.
Why didn't we look for the manholes?
I found there were some input and output tracks, so I just stood on one of the output tracks. It took me right out of the factory.
I mean, isn't it obvious? She used the grapple hook.
I've been playing a lot of Satisfactory recently, and in my head, the inside of these buildings are just giant Satisfactory factories.
That makes sense. They probably are. All right, so he's gonna go like into the security kiosk and start keying around in there. He? Yeah, I guess he's gonna try a few tricks he knows to hack into like crack into a login session, basically.
Okay, totally.
So I will roll a hacker fix if that sounds good.
It does.
All right, I rolled a 22.
All right, with a 22, you are able to open up the security for this station in front of the factory. You are able to see, even without Zippo plugged in, a lot of the things that Dyne and Evelene were seeing when they plugged Zippo in. That's what gave them access. You, looking at this, are able to go, okay, this is where they do actual like medical readings, basically, on workers as they come out of the factory at the end of their shift. You see the same report they did, which is an odd report about taking a subsection of segmented individuals and putting them through 3507, which it notes as additional behavioral modifications. You're not sure why that's on there, but it's almost written as like a you know how like a doctor examining someone might be like circle. I mean, they might like circle a reading on someone's printout,
make a note,
and then like write in a red pen next to it is like, you know, look into 3507 additional behavioral modifications. And you can tell that when they wrote that, they were referencing a reading that they had taken. Does that make sense?
Right. And this is specifically for Zippo.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. And we've heard that before, that he had some behavioral problems with his bosses. We've seen that noted before. Okay.
Hey, Astro.
Yeah.
While you're doing this, how long ago did you try to reach out to Evelene?
I would say he did it after, like right after they left the admin building on their way. So maybe what, like 15 minutes ago?
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
All of you who are outside the factory on whatever shortwave communication device you have, all here on a public channel. Check, come in. Anyone out there?
Does the voice sound familiar?
Not at all.
It's like on a public channel.
It is on like an unsecured channel, which I think you would note that you doubt the official communications on this very secret base would just use public communication channels.
Right. I'm intrigued. I think I'm going to answer. He'll pick up his what's it called? Omni hook? Is that right?
I mean, you have an Omni hook that is sufficiently more advanced than what the other people in the group have. I imagine if you have that, you probably don't also need an additional like
radio,
shortwave, communication device.
But this would have
like
been
headset
picked up
or
on like a normal radio.
Yes, it is someone within your communications range sending out a communication.
Okay, I'll reply back on that channel and say, hello, who's this?
Who's this?
You first.
Why do I have to go first?
You were the one that initiated this by saying
so
anyone
what?
out there.
Fuck you.
Okay.
And then they hang up.
Well, I'm not going until I know who you are. I'm not going to further engage.
Is that what you
say?
Right?
No, you're right there. You're right next to him while he's having this conversation.
But I can hear him, not the guy on the other side, right?
This is on a public channel. Any of you who have like shortwave communications that are logged into this, the three of you all heard his initial outreach.
Okay, probably did then.
You're welcome to jump in. But yeah, the last thing I said is, you made the initial outreach, but I not going to further engage with you until I know who I'm dealing with. Have a nice day.
You ain't some sort of happies, are you?
Some sort of what?
Some happies.
I don't even know what that means.
You hear an elongated sigh on the other side of the channel, and he goes, fucking happies, gents, chaps, claps. When you're happy and you know it, you clap. Happies.
I've been known to be happy. I've been known to clap on occasion. I don't know if that qualifies.
You fucking kidding me?
Do you work here?
No, I don't fucking... Who is this?
Again, you first.
Well, no one around here got radios, so you tell me.
Then why do you have a radio?
Because I'm not from around here.
What are you doing here then?
You know, this and that.
Why don't you tell me what this means, and I'll tell you what we're doing.
I'm gonna hold a hand up and wait until Astro either covers or mutes his microphone or whatever.
Yeah, I'll
just
mute it.
And then just go, what? Why would there be someone who doesn't work here or is not part of the conspiracy be on a radio?
Could he be a rebel? Is this their MO? Would they just show up and start
I don't think
rambling
rebels
on
are
a public channel?
I don't think they're dumb enough for that. I mean, maybe some of them, but none that would be here, right?
Yeah.
I could see if there is a piece of information the three of you might remember. Who amongst the three of you, who do you think would be able to remember a small, what's the word? little sample, like a little tiny morsel of information that someone had mentioned once.
Would have been
Who
mentioned
has good recall?
to all of us.
The three of you who aren't Evelene, because she
Yeah.
isn't part of this conversation.
Right.
It's true.
Evelyn out of nowhere. I know.
She might, but you'll never know.
Read a situation's the closest I have, just because I assume this is related to this person in some way. And if they're exhibiting things I've seen before, I might know. But if not, then I don't know.
This is a thing that was mentioned before this operation started. If one of you thinks you would have kept this in mind during the operation, I will give you a chance to recall this piece of information now.
I would say that Steve is pretty good at remembering stuff.
I think you have a lot of operational control.
I think Steve's the details guy, and Astro's the big picture guy. So
Dyne is
probably has
also Dyne's
better
also a
chance.
possibility
Yeah.
here. So
Yeah, I think it's more likely Steve would remember than Dyne would because of everything that was going on at the start of the mission with Artemis
It's
and
hard
everything.
to say without knowing what it
That's
is, to be
fair.
honest.
okay,
that's true.
It is just a piece of information that the people who sent you on this mission mentioned to you. So I'll take a pilot
Dyne
check.
might, but with difficulty is the thing.
I'll roll 1d20. No
Okay.
modifiers.
It depends on if you think a trigger app applies to this.
Word on the street, if it was mentioned to me, is about the only one I think would apply.
Go for it. It's from a
Okay.
particular social scene.
All right. 17. All right.
Kestrel, you remember that ethics representatives, the people that you had talked to before starting the mission, mentioned that they were going to time your mission to line up with when one of their plants they had gotten into a shipping vessel was supposed to be on planet at the same time as you. You timed this mission to go down to be at the same time that person should be down here.
I don't recall. Was there a reason for that, or was it just...
They're the person who was able to get in good and basically pretend that they were trustworthy to Lev Integrated Technologies. They're an undercover agent who got in with the shipping crews with Lev and helped find this location for you.
Okay. I'll bring that up then to Astro and Dyne and say it could be them. It makes the most sense, but I don't know if we want to interact with them or not.
It could be helpful, maybe, if we join forces.
We're on an unsecured channel. Anyone can hear this.
Exactly. Very, very good point you bring up. I'll radio back to them and say, why don't you come meet us in person? And
You
we can
packing?
talk. We are packing, yes.
I don't know, sounds dangerous.
We're nice guys. We're happies, remember?
You happies.
Well, again, I don't exactly know what that means, but we're friendly.
You don't sound like someone who would know.
I don't know how much I want to say to you on this channel.
Where you at?
We are by one of the factories. One of the factories is all I'm saying.
No. Okay. Securely send him coordinates if you need to, but...
I'll
do
say,
you do?
is there a secure channel I can reach you on?
You wait for a long moment. Yeah. How about you got a hook?
I do.
All right, keep your eyes up, buddy.
Will do.
On your Omni hook, you see information about a secured channel come across.
Okay. I will switch.
You can swap to it.
Yeah.
As soon as you swap over, it's like testing. You there? You figured this out yet? You slow?
Coming in loud and clear.
Oh, there you are.
All right. We are here, and I'll send him like coordinates.
So I gotta make sure you ain't saints, right?
I don't think I would describe myself as a saint. No,
You're not with the inquest.
definitely not.
All right. Who's your friends? Got any good friends? Friends that might be my friends?
I'll mute him for a second and say, should I mention Ethic?
No, but I think it's okay to mention that we likely have the same friends.
I'll say, I think we probably have the same friends.
How do I know that?
Ask him if he's willing to say the name of his friends to other people or not.
Are you willing to say the name of your friends to other people?
I'm a friend of book readers.
I'll look at Steve and be like, you know what that means?
I shake my head. He seems to have lots of terminology that we're not using. I'm guessing they're likely codes that Ethic came up with.
I'm so mad because I
tell me. Shoot, Ethic did tell me.
I know, but I'm mad about it.
Ethic did tell me like a phrase we can use if I need to talk to Ethic. If I needed to like reach like on an emergency. What was that phrase? Let me see.
I don't know that I'm privy to that.
Let me see if I can find that somewhere. I think I wrote it down. One second. Shoot. I did write it down. I am very disorganized and I don't know where I put it. Can I do a check to see if I can remember this phrase?
I don't know if you don't remember it, if I remember it. Because that was given to you at the very beginning of contest. Yes. And you've been working with her directly since then, because ever since you gained admittance, you haven't needed to have that kind of code to talk to her.
Okay. That sounds right. So I don't think she gave me something for this mission then. I might just be confusing it with the one she gave me for contest. I feel like I'm probably forgetting something. But book readers feels familiar to me. Like that feels like I might have heard that before. I'll just say.
Can I break the fourth wall, please? This is driving me nuts.
Sure. I could use a little metagaming help, but I have an idea
right,
of what
Bob?
to say. If not,
You remember you're part of an organization,
yes.
and you were given something as a symbol of that organization.
Yes. Yes, I was. Oh gosh.
That is true. Chuck's right. He ain't here, but he's right.
I'm flipping my desk.
Was it a bookmark?
Almost there. A what?
bookmark?
It is a pin. It's a lapel pin you have that is a little book.
Little book, yeah.
It is like a book that is open, and it's a little pin that you can pin to a lapel of a shirt.
Okay. That's right. See,
You know that Effic has that same pin because she is also a member of the Dialectics.
I'll say, yes, I have a pin from them, from the bookkeepers.
All right, you're shit at this, but I believe you. Send me your coordinates.
Will do. I'll send him our exact coordinates.
All right, just don't shoot at me when I show up there. I get it. I look a little bad. I'm a little covered with blood. Don't be freaked out about it, okay? Be cool.
All right,
we've
Artemis,
seen worse.
take aim and...
You can still do stuff while you wait for this guy to show up if you want.
Yeah, while we wait, I'm just gonna continue. So I did get access to a security kiosk, and I saw that information. Do I have any additional functionality?
You have access to all the readings that the group had access to when I want to say his name, but I keep pulling the wrong name into my head library. Right. When the guy was hooked up to it, it is literally just
Zippo.
Showing you like the last accessed information.
Okay.
You talking about Zippo?
That's it, Zippo.
Yeah.
I wanted to say another name that has now left my mind and has been replaced by Zippo now. I apparently have a 1 in, 1 out rule with names currently.
I really don't know what to do with that at the moment.
Not your problem.
I guess.
It will be everyone's problem in a little bit.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and so it doesn't look like I have access to much else besides that reading.
It is the most recent recordings that were off of Zippo when Zippo was plugged in.
Okay. So
it does not look like things are really stored here as much. You think you could probably get like some recent access, pushing a little further to get past Zippo's stuff. But it is these kinds of readouts. It is nothing to do with the factory itself.
Yeah.
In essence, it actually kind of feels like the security checkpoint is more like a medical check-in than a security checkpoint.
Right. I'll say I don't think this has anything to do with gaining access to a factory. I think this is just used to monitor readings from the different workers, make sure they're good to go, probably. Then they approach the door, and the door probably uses some sort of like recognition algorithm or facial recognition, something like that, to let them in. It makes sense. Like Evelene apparently was just barely able to get in Zippo's wake, and Dyne couldn't make it, so she kind of just snuck in behind.
But it has medical readings? Does it have medical readings of while they were in their shift?
All I can get is the last reading that we just took from Zippo, but I could try to dig further to see if I can access a database of sorts. And I'll try to do that if
okay.
So I'll try a few back-end commands that I know of that could kind of like maybe open up a special session where I can see where this data is if this data is being sent anywhere.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or if it's just like a read-only like thing that's just there temporarily and doesn't get recorded.
I'll just need another check to follow up on then.
Sounds good. Hack or fix. I rolled a 15.
Okay, on a success, you were able to tell that not only is this being collected and transmitted somewhere, because of the success, you're able to tell where. It appears that all of this is collated in another area of the admin building that you guys were just at. This is all being sent to there and being collated there. It is an area not in the control room you guys were in, but it seems to have some sort of... Let me put it this way. If you were to log into that computer, you would be able to tell, oh, this is the computer that stuff gets sent to.
Okay.
But you know it's in the admin building.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll say to Steve, yeah, possibly they're recording data during their shift. I can't say for sure, but I do know this data is being collated and sent back to the administrative building. So, if we go back there, we may be able to access those records.
I don't know how long we need to wait here for your new friend.
Well, let's wait for them first.
If you want, I can wait for them, and like you and Dyne can go. Because if we can get medical records of what's happening to people while they're on shift, we might be able to find out more about what's going on. And you and Dyne should be able to pull that up and figure it out, right?
Possibly, yeah.
We can certainly try.
It's worth looking
Interestingly,
into.
while you guys are having this conversation, you note someone kind of hurriedly headed your way from the distance.
I'll step out of the security booth and I'll wave.
This person is wearing like full body like work attire. It's like the jumpsuits that you normally see like shipping and handling people in like space stations wear. It's like blue and very like one size fits all, which means on this person's it's extremely baggy because this person is quite small. They're a short person who this outfit just is way too big on them. Giant pockets on it, has like a baseball cap on that's pulled backwards on their head. They have like kind of wet with sweat hair that's kind of like sticking down out of their baseball cap that's kind of like glued to the sides of their head. They look like they've been through it. But the thing that more tells you they've been through it is they are splattered with blood all over their jumpsuit.
You did warn us, yeah.
As they come up, they hold their hands out to the sides as they approach, like out and up. Is like, hey, you guys, you the people who read books?
Yeah. I'll show him my pen.
Wow. Okay, you one of them. Am I supposed to salute or something? He does like a fake, salute that's almost more mocking than a salute.
It couldn't hurt.
Looks around at the other two
You
of
could
you.
bow
Is like,
too if you'd like.
nah, I think I'll stay the way I am. So, who are all ya?
We are here to figure out what's going on.
Cool. Thick as mud. I am Diltep. Name's Diltep Knoll. I work for, I think, a mutual friend of ours who, maybe I won't say their name right now, but is sent me down here.
Do they work in logistics?
Yeah, just like me. I work in logistics.
Does he have any like firearms or anything on him?
Not that he has in his hands.
He has like firearms.
You don't see anything like harnessed to him or anything.
Okay.
He just has this big fucking like jumpsuit with like big pockets
It's
on
baggy,
it and stuff.
so
yeah.
anything could be in there. Yeah. I'll say, yeah. So we're here to figure out what's going on here.
He has, by the way, a face mask on. The reason his baseball cap is backwards is he doesn't have the full environmental gear you guys have on, but he has a face mask that comes up under his chin and like encloses over his mouth and then has like a clear window that's like almost like underwater goggles that's pressed up against his eyes. So that's why his ball cap is backwards, so that he can have this on the front of his face.
Okay. What's the radio station we're on again? 39.7.
He didn't give you a specific rate. I just told you a secured radio station.
I'm like kind of joking. The place we're at, it sounds like a radio station to me. Like an FM station.
70.106.
70.106.
The vibe.
Yeah. So I'll say, yeah, we are here trying to figure out for our mutual friend what exactly is happening here on 7106 and why it's being covered up. And so
okay, cool. That's great. You might want to get your move on then, because things are about to get a lot busier.
Yeah, looks like you came out of something busy. Just judging by your appearance.
Yeah, there was like a security lockdown happening. We all got like us. He points at you and then nods like he understands something better now. It's like, that makes sense. Because they kind of all just rounded us up into like these separate little rooms that we were all trapped in. And well, you won't have to worry about the people that were in the room I was trapped in.
Okay.
They aren't going to be paying anyone any visits anytime soon.
Okay. Good to know.
But there's a lot more people in this place, and I think the security all clear has gone off. I think people are just waiting for the schedule to start back up. So I don't know when that happens. I don't know what the timing of that is like, but I think people are going back to work.
I see. Going back to that security booth, Asher's like, let me check on something. And he goes back to the security booth. I know he picked out the latest record, which was when Zippo went through, right? Is there any way I can see anything previous to that?
It is like you saw a bunch of you see a bunch of basically non-scans. Because it looks like a bunch of people were shuffled out of the factory and their scans were skipped in haste.
Okay.
So the things prior to the scan Zippo had are a bunch of people getting cleared to leave the factory without doing their scans.
Okay. So probably in the middle of their shifts.
Yes, that's correct. That's what you would assume from that information.
So Asher says, yeah, they're probably going to go back very soon because I think the lockdown interrupted their shifts.
Okay, that's bad. Because, well, I think the security is going to show back up here real soon. You guys, how long have you been here? You seen the people here yet?
We met one person.
You seen all the, he like motions to the back of his neck and makes like big scary hands with his hands. Like, you seen the bullshit that's happening here?
Segmentation tethers, yes.
We saw that.
He like blinks at you when you say that. He's like, whatever it is, it's fucked up.
That I agree with you. Yeah.
All the people I came down on the cargo ship with, we all came down like me, like I am. We were supposed to be picking some stuff up, taking it out. But everyone we met down here had that big fuck off bullshit coming out of the back of their neck.
Yeah, and they have several gates along the way that activates it.
Activates it. What does it do when it activates?
It makes them forget who they were before they entered the gate.
Shit. Okay, that's why everyone acted all weird when they went through those glass walls.
Exactly. It segments their mind into. It's almost like there's a few different versions of the same person.
That's fucked up.
The person that works in the factory is not the same person that lives in the residence, or even the same person that walks to the factory.
That's real weird.
Yeah, but it's a pretty handy way of keeping this work secret.
All right. Well, do you guys have exfil?
We do have a plan for that. I don't remember exactly the
You didn't decide when to get the DBC to come pick you up yet.
Yeah. We do. We aren't planning on using it yet until we find out what's really going on here.
All right, because my ride's busted, and if I could hitch a ride out of this fucking place, I'd be real grateful.
And you are aware of how dangerous it is to be with us right now.
I would rather be anywhere than here.
That's a fair
place
point.
Sucks.
Can you tell us anything about when did you get here? Was it recently?
I got here yesterday. It was supposed to be a real simple thing. We were supposed to come down, land the ship. We were supposed to help over the next day, get everything loaded up on the cargo ship with the people who work here, and then we're supposed to take off, and then we had another site we were dropping it all off at.
Then why did that get interrupted? Is it just simply because we did our thing?
He holds his hand out, motioning at you all.
Okay.
Now, I was warned by our friends that things might go sideways while I was down here, and that I should contact any mutual friends who might be on site and see if I could hitch a ride with them.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I can't exactly leave on the cargo ship I came here.
Just so you know, we're gonna be very wanted after this mission.
Well,
hold
you
on
don't have
one
to
second.
tell anyone I'm there.
While I do believe you, I also don't trust you yet. We've given you physical proof of who we are, but you have so far just given us vague understandings.
I listen, I'm not meant to have anything identifiable on me. I mean...
Then whisper your benefactor's name in his ear. I'll look at Astro. You can at least trust him, right?
It looks at Astro. He like waves you over.
Yeah, I'll lean over.
I have my hand on my gun in case he I just caught him and somebody's about to try something, you know?
It says Hail Hydra.
Right. Yeah, then pulls out a machete. He whispers in your ear, is like, I'm working for fucking Ethic, but don't tell anyone.
I'll just nod and say, yep, he's good.
So, listen, I was sent here to find some information and figure out, how the cargo is. Actually, he hits his head like he's been being an idiot. He does a thing where he bonks the side of his head with his hand. I have info for you.
Oh, good. You tell.
I know where my cargo ship was supposed to go. After we picked up the info, after we picked up everything here, we were supposed to take it to a site I have never heard of before, but I have it written down here. He pulls out a little notepad with him, and he goes, "Okay, it was called." I actually have this written down here. Let me pull that up. He goes, here it is. It says we're going to a place called Lumiere, Salacia.
Lumiere, Salacia. And do you just have the name, or do you have coordinates?
I am a brand new hire. I kind of snuck I don't know if you know what I'm an infiltrator. I get in places and I find things out, but this was real new. So I kind of just got on the ship, and this was our first job.
I gotcha. That sounds good. So that should be our next destination then. We probably...
Do you know what you were supplying them?
Well, they were all coming in on big unmarked crates, but then he winks at you through the glass eyepiece on his thing. Doesn't mean I didn't take a look.
I would expect nothing less.
Ordnance. At least in the crate I opened.
Is it any special type of ordnance or
ship rounds?
Okay.
Like the good stuff.
Yeah.
Like I would get killed if I had been caught having it stuff.
So they're stockpiling ammunition.
I don't
Yeah,
think any
whatever
of us are
this-
surprised that they're doing something, war related here, but
Ship rounds meaning like anti-ship ordnance.
Like kill a space station sized ordnance.
Okay.
Like you would load this into the main cannons of like a combat corvette.
Gotcha. Okay. So maybe they're
Ordnance like war. Yeah, bad. Big
So-
stuff.
Like
Maybe-
if war were declared?
Yeah, war
War
were
were.
declared.
So maybe Lumiere Salacia is a shipyard or something.
He shrugs at you. He goes, sounds like to me that there's a bunch of places on Lumiere. I listened in on some of the people I was talking to, while I was working. They said Salacia was kind of new. So I guess they're getting it stocked. I don't know. I was hoping, that you all or whoever was coming down here would do more investigation here to see if they could figure that stuff out.
Well, we can go back to the administrative building and we could probably find out some more stuff there.
Well,
Or just there earlier.
I have a warning for you. Everyone here has the fucking, he like motions to the back of his neck thing. Everyone. So if that's some weird shit that you guys were talking about, everyone down here has that.
Even
including the administrators and security.
That's right. The only people dressed like me were the crew I was with.
And are they alive?
Not anymore.
Well, you're a
Things
lucky guy.
Things got tense in the room. We all got locked in that room. There were big alarms going off. Some people got suspicious. I had to tell some people to shut their traps. And there were no survivors.
I shrug. I'm not here to judge you, and I doubt there's going to be many survivors off this planet by the time we're done anyways.
It's fine with me. You won't catch me complaining.
Well, those gates, of course, they don't affect us without the tether. As far as I can tell, there's no ill effects to us passing under them.
Yeah, I went through like 2 of them. When they were herding us all into like lockup when the security beacons went off or whatever. So it just made some flashy lights, but all the people who had the spines, when they went through, it's like they didn't know where they were for like 2 seconds after they passed through.
Yep, that sounds about right. So we did meet one of them, and we convinced him that he needed to get back on his shift because we wanted to see where he worked. So little complication. He's in the building now with one of our crew.
So there's
and
more
we're
of you.
Yeah, we were just trying to figure out how to get this door open.
Looks at the door. Huh.
Have you been in any of these factories?
No. They would not let us out of their sights the entire time we were down here.
All right. So it's important.
My movements were constrained, but once we started loading cargo onto the cargo ship, I had to look around because they don't go onto the cargo ship. But anytime we were out here in this little weird factory diorama, those weird spiky neck people were watching us like hawks.
Yeah.
Everyone looks real emaciated and sick here.
Yeah, I think employee benefits is not the top priority at this place.
Well,
Probably those tethers, require a lot of the body. It's also their implants are also being used for them to work in harsh environments that probably humans can't usually survive in.
well, none of them were wearing respirators, so I was kind of like, what the fuck are these people doing? Because every time I look at my little readout, he motions to a little watch-like device on his arm. It says, this place is toxic. So I'm like, how are these people getting by down here? But I don't ask the questions in the open, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why the implants allow them to breathe the toxic air.
Well, look,
But
things are
knows
about to get busier. We spent a little time talking. I have a feeling the security is starting to show up and your workers are going to start showing up. And you all and me all don't look like them all. So we need to figure out a plan for how we're going to look around here while people are about. Or how we're going to get out of Dodge.
I'm going back to the admin command center. If somebody meanders on in there, then I can try to neutralize them before they sound an alarm or anything. It might buy us a little bit of time. If they're waiting for the all clear from the security that we dispatched when we got here, then they're probably not going to wait much more than half an hour to an hour in their rooms. So I'd say at most we probably have about that long.
Well, listen, you guys are in charge of this mission now. I was never really the leader type. So you tell me what my objective is, and I'll try to do whatever you think is best for my skills.
Well, your skills seem useful to what I'm planning on doing. Do you mind, COMET?
Sure. What were you thinking?
Holding the control room, stopping them from radio out as long as we can, buying time. Finding information there if we can.
Yeah, I wanted to go there too because I was thinking maybe there's a way to access security controls for the different factories from there.
You don't think you can do it here?
Not from this security kiosk. No, I don't think so.
Well, somebody should probably be here for Evelene. I mean, we got to count on her finding something out at this rate. She's the only one that got in the factory.
All right, well, I'll stay.
You did say you're an infiltrator, though, right?
I wear a lot of hats. Some of them say infiltrator, some of them say dock worker, some of them say assassin. Which hat do you need me to wear?
Are you good at breaking into secure buildings?
Looks at the building behind you. I could try to figure it out.
He might be able to get Dyne inside, and you guys can try to get Evelene before the shift comes back.
That is a plan.
I'll lean in and whisper to Dyne and say, "Are you comfortable with this guy? Alone?"
I'll look at him. That obviously says no. Without responding.
I'll leave it up to you, Dyne. Either if you like that, he can help you try to gain access to the building. If not, we'll take him with us to the control center.
Take him with you. I'll stay here and see if I can figure something out. If not, I can always just blow open the door.
There was something about the medical records, right? You think you could get that from the control room?
Yes, I do.
Maybe it's worth it for Dyne to go there. I don't know.
We can all go there.
All right, let's go. Leave Evelene to her own devices. She'll be fine.
You must have a lot of trust in whatever person you sent in there. You're like, they got this covered. Probably a smooth operator you got in there, yeah?
Sure.
Yes,
let's
definitely.
go with that.
Meanwhile, Evelyn, I'm lost.
Everything's on fire and I'm lost.
We can't even warn her of anything.
All right, well, good to hear. Speaking of, do we need to get exfil ready? Like, how are we getting out of here once, shit goes down?
We can call our ship when we're ready to get out of here.
All right, sounds good.
I do.
Worst case scenario, I guess we could try to hot rod the cargo ship that's here, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Hopefully it shouldn't come to that. We have a pretty good operator on our ship that's on the ready when we need them.
All right, well, I'll stick to you. Tell me what you need me doing.
Why don't you go ahead with the others? I'll hang back just a little bit longer and poke around and see if maybe there's something I missed with the security console. And then I'll meet you in administration. Excuse me. Talk.
Alrighty, we'll head over.
All right.
All right, so the way you're splitting up is Astro, you're going to stay here and try to find out any other way to open the doors. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then
just want to make sure I've exhausted all options.
Gotcha. And then Dyne and Steve are going with Diltep to the admin building.
Yep.
I think so.
All right. As you three are walking to the admin building, Diltep just kind of walks whistling with his hands in his pocket. It's nice to work in a crew from time to time. Job's real lonely.
What do you normally do?
A bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm a real jack.
What do you know? We'd probably be described the same way.
Well, I don't imagine you would be spending a lot of, super specialists. I don't know how much a xenobiologist would do you good down here.
I just look at Dyne and go, we probably have one.
Maybe. Well, this planet is pretty fucked up, so just want to get out of here. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I gotcha. Makes sense.
You normally
while I also
work
want
alone?
to get out of here, I'd much rather I want to know what's happening here. It sure seems like they're preparing for a war.
Yeah, that's weird, huh?
It's not weird, in my opinion, that they're preparing for a war. It's weird that there are 3 companies collaborating on it.
Sounds kind of like a civil war.
That would be real bad. That'd be real bad.
Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible they're building a capital ship here or something?
Man, that's above my pay grade, but if they're trying to collab, so to speak, they probably don't got the raw muscle that some of the other corpos have, but man, numbers make a difference, you know?
And ingenuity. They clearly have that.
I did some, let's call it, double-faced work on either side of a few corporate conflicts. When corpos fight, thousands die. Don't matter if they were involved or not. And the bigger the conflict, the more innocent people get caught up in it.
You're not wrong. They don't really care about what happens about any of the collateral damage. They just care about the bottom line.
Well, that's not what I get paid for. So...
You're right. That's not what you or we get paid for. We're here to do a job.
You guys got any food?
I'm sure I have like a ration bar or something on me. I'll toss them.
Grabs it. Looks at it longingly. Great. Once we're in an environment I can eat this, I'll be real thankful.
Man, they didn't even feed you?
No, man. I only got to eat when we were on the cargo ship. I was in the middle of my work shift when all this shit happened. They caught us right before lunch.
I'm sorry, we weren't planning on interrupting lunch. We were planning on getting in and getting out.
Yeah, well, that'll show you. Be so inconsiderate.
Duly noted. Next time we do plan an operation, make sure to do it after lunch.
There's a good guy. All right, well, the three of you head on to the admin building. Astro, trying to break into the factory. What do you try new?
Okay. I have a feeling I didn't fully investigate what I was capable of doing at the security console. So what I would like to do is try to pull up a directory of commands, if possible, that have been used in the past. So a lot of times, like in computer systems, you can look at a history of commands. They get logged. So I want to see if I can find some. Excuse me, if I can find something like that. You know.
You're trying to pull their bash history?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to type history in the terminal.
I think you're able to pretty easily find a bunch of things that are used at the. So you're at the quote unquote security station, right? The little pop up building that's outside of the factory.
Yeah.
This is where the people get basically plugged in when they're done with the workday to run diagnostics on them.
Yeah.
You do go through, and like I said before, it seems to be a lot more about the people than the building.
Right.
A lot of the info here are a lot of things like accessing logs, running a scan on the person who's plugged in, things like that. Not a whole lot of the things here have to do with the building it's adjacent to.
Okay. Nothing.
And you
nothing...
already, you try to find anything that's different than that. And it is largely things that are on a wider scale of like report a problem, which would be like sending, information back to the admin building, for example, right. Or, the local alert that you could hit to cause like emergency systems to activate and things like that. In terms of if you want to access the building itself, this building is not so much connected to it in that way.
Can I offer a option, or do you not want to metagame that?
Well, I did have one thing I wanted to do, but yeah, let's hear what you were thinking.
If the terminal only accesses people mainly, and that's what it does, it clearly registers people as needing to enter the building. So all you really have to do is spoof that someone needs to enter the building, And you did see some bits about the segmentation tether a few different times. I don't know if you're able to spoof it registering that or not, but
Okay.
that would be my idea at least.
Okay. That's something to go on. What I want to do first, though, before I try anything, is I want to investigate the doorway a little bit. And what I'm looking for specifically is I have a theory that maybe the door is operated by like external sensors that are running some sort of recognition on the people that are coming into work. So
It is doing that. Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is scanning the people who come up to the building. It's kind of like an angled down camera that seems to like detect the people coming in.
got it. So there's a camera there. Okay. Here's what I'll try to. I wonder if I can do something weird, like spoof a record of myself, so like I can add my own face to the database of workers or something like that. If so, I don't know if that's something I could do here. I might have to do it back at administration. But yeah, let me go back to the security console, and I'll try the thing Jay was talking about. Is there a way I can like queue up like this person is ready to enter the building, or is it purely like all like diagnostics and reporting and stuff?
You might be able to. Now, this is going to make it a dangerous check.
Yeah.
Because here's what you're risking in trying this, and here's how you can get this to work with the things you've brought up so far. Is you could basically tell the system, oh, this is a person that needs entry. This is like a segmented, like this is it's you're like saying I've scanned a segmented person. And you're trying to the computer. You've just scanned a segmented person, open the doors, but you're going to have to tell the camera it's wrong. And that you're going to have to do that with the data from the security station. So like if you have all the records at the security station, you can basically feed one of those records into it and say, hey, camera, you just scanned this person. Even though the camera has not just scanned that person, it's going to be difficult. And if it detects too big of a flaw there, it might set off like a local alert.
Okay, so it's like I'm trying to override the camera, like you incorrectly.
You're incorrectly not detecting this person that's in front of you. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'll try to do. I'll pick up. I'll choose like a record of someone that's not Zippo, since Zippo's already inside.
Yeah, I have some other random prisoner names. Wraith Greds. RATHEGREDDS.
I like that name, so yeah, let's go with him. And I'm trying to think if Astro would have any special ideas on how to make this easier. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna do what you described. So I'm gonna try to send
just
a
a warning
message.
ahead of time that a full failure would be really bad.
Okay. I don't think I'll have a full failure. Famous
Okay.
last words. +6, pretty good. Okay, deep breath. Here we go. 11. Ooh, kind of skirting the line.
You're right. It's not a full failure.
Yeah, it's not a full failure.
So you are successfully able to feed the thing, basically saying, hey, camera, you're not detecting this person that needs to be detected. Open the door to let them in. You see the doors start to open in front of the factory. You basically read on the readout like, okay, ready to accept the person.
Okay, I'm going to start.
You are at a different place as to where you're telling them the camera is. So it has opened up to allow this person who doesn't exist to enter, and you're like another 20 feet away from where that person should be.
I had a feeling that this might happen, so he's going to just start running for it.
Okay. Yes, you were only able to trick it enough to be like, okay, admit one person, please. And it's going to do that for you, but now you're going to have to see if you can get in.
Okay.
So roll me a pilot check to get past the security door.
Am I worried about the camera seeing me, or do I think that's taken care of?
You think for the length of time this door is open, that is not your concern.
Okay, so I don't have to like do act unseen or unheard. This would be a great time to get somewhere quickly. Fortunately, I do not have that, so I am just going to roll D20.
The failure's not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah. I want to ask something too, and let me know if you want me to handle this after or before the roll. But Astro also wants to, like, while he's running, like, get on the radio and say, "I'm gonna try to get inside the door. You might lose me."
You can say that over the coded channel real quick.
Yeah. So he's like out of breath while he's running. And I'll roll the D20. 3. So
wow,
that's not going to be a success.
Here's the fun bit, Comet.
Yeah.
What hard suit are you wearing?
The stealth hard suit.
Interesting. Okay. So luckily that doesn't fuck with your speed. You know, your evasion's pretty good. Doesn't have really an armor or an HP bonus or anything like that. You are able to book it into the building, and you get in. You thought, and then you can't move.
Yeah.
And then you start to hear a very concerning crunching noise.
Oh God.
And as you like pull yourself forward as hard as you can, you aren't able to turn around. Something's stopping you from turning around. It's like you've gotten your book bag or your backpack stuck in something, because that's what's happened.
Yeah.
You missed it by such a tiny amount. The spine of your pilot armor has gotten caught in the door, and it has crushed the spine of your stealth hard suit.
Okay.
For the purposes of the rest of this mission, your stealth hard suit does not function.
Okay. Got it. So I can't be invisible.
You may not choose to become invisible. And the other downside of it is you have the protective gear like on top of it, so you don't have to worry about that. Like it's like you have the undercoating, right? That, and then the thing that goes over your head that's protecting you from the gases outside. The problem being that now there's nothing protecting that suit. And if that gets punctured now, you're just open to the noxious environment.
Right. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I could deal with that. There are worse fates.
Yeah, you're about as equipped as Diltep is now.
Yeah. Okie doke.
But yeah, you pull yourself away from the wall. You hear something tearing and ripping in a very concerning way, and you look back, and a full half of like the machinery that's supposed to like feed into the back of your hard suit is like dangling out of the door as if it was crushed and like torn off of your back.
Oh, Asher's like, oh, that is not good. He'll try to like access his invisibility function, and I suppose it probably like sputters and doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like whatever remaining charge was in it. You see a few of the like reflective bits around your hand that's closest to your like where you're accessing the controls from, like start to change and do the active camo thing a little bit, and then it just goes back to being like kind of shiny panels.
Yeah. It turned back off. First thing I'll do is I'll try to radio Evelene now.
As soon as you pull up the radio, nothing but static. Like as soon as you activate any channel on the radio, it is actively piping static at you.
Oh, interesting. So Astra thinks to himself, oh, so not only is it shielded from the outside, but it just doesn't work in here. It kind of must be interfering or jamming any sort of shortwave communication. Well, I guess I'm just going to have to look for Evelene and Zippo.
And then, now that you're inside, I want to see what Evelene's been up to over this time. Evelene?
I'm basically like Frank from Dead Rising, taking pictures and getting the little sound effects saying like, nice shot, and good job.
You see a bunch of little circles appear on things as like like identifying warheads and shit.
Yeah. I'm basically trying to collect evidence, but I'm also kind of keeping away an idea of how to get out of here because I should have an exit strategy. I think Evelene has thought about the possibility of other people showing up, so she's trying to think about, okay, what do I need to do when I need to get out of Dodge? And it might be just like taking another conveyor belt out somehow.
Well, right now you are in, like I said, the most secure section of this factory,
right?
Where they seem to be working on giant ship thrusters and a bunch of like weaponry and stuff. It appears that there are a bunch of inputs here and a bunch of storage here and a bunch of shipping and packaging setups here. This appears to be like the terminal end of a lot of the things.
Okay.
So getting out might be more difficult than getting in because not much leaves this room.
Not until like the cargo ships are here to pick up the goods.
Not
I guess.
Until the cargo ships show up and they're actually like opening the entire side of the factory so that they could on cranes lift the giant ship engine out of the factory.
Gotcha. Hey, I got a dumb question. If Astro tried his radio, did you like Todd? You didn't actually send anything because I feel like if you're on the other side of the shielding, I would get any messages. I would think.
Wait,
both
sorry,
of you
what are
who
you
are
asking?
I will answer Evelene with this. Evelene, while you are in the factory, anyone in the factory, when they pull up their radios, just gets static piped to them.
It might be jamming,
no matter what they do. Like
okay.
It's like they're inoperable in here.
Yeah, that's what I understood.
Yeah, I'm just that's what I'm doing right now, collecting evidence and looking for a way out.
Okay. What of those are you focusing on?
I think initially I'm focusing on collecting evidence, but unless like there's like a latest development, I think eventually going to realize, okay, this is about the same old stuff at this point. I might as well focus on exit.
It is the things I already told you about that you were able to access in here.
Then I'm looking for an exit at this point then, because I don't think I'm going to find anything new.
All right. What kind of exit do you think you can find?
So based on your description earlier, it sounds like the end of this manufacturing line is the crates, and it sounds like going down that line is not going to be too helpful since that's only going to be when they pick up the crates.
That is correct. Yeah, those things are meant to be like almost like bays that like the shipments are put out into, or like literally you can see where there are seams in the side of the factory where you imagine like a portion of the entire wall probably slides aside so that external cranes can actually lift out the larger ship pieces being built in here.
Okay. So I think the first thing I want to do, and I'm kind of working this out as we're talking, so I apologize for a little bit of bouncing around. I would assume the mechanism for opening a door would be on the inside of the factory rather than the outside, so it'd be closer to me. Because if it was on the outside, then anyone who's trying to break in would just screw around with that. So it would have to be on the inside. Can I locate that mechanism to see if there's like anything obvious I can fiddle around with for a hack?
I think locating where that would be done from is probably going to be the first thing you need to do.
Right. Okay.
So let's see if you can find how to operate the either. Well, you tell me this. Are you trying to look for the access parts that will allow you to like open where the ship parts get removed from?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What do you use to try and locate that? What are you looking for? What's your method?
I'm looking for the so I guess I would find the door and then see how the doors operate. Like if there's any, like I assume it's a large door, so it'd probably be like a large engine of some sort operating that door. I'm looking for that engine.
Okay. The engine is actually close to the door.
Cool.
But it does not have access panels on the engine itself. You could try and get in there and mess with the hardware, but you imagine whatever controls this is somewhere else.
I'm not interested.
So it depends on how you want to do it.
Because I think we've established at this point, any form of controls is probably going to have some sort of security or panel on that, and I'm not Astro. I mean, if Astro happens to appear, it's a different story, but I'm not Astro. I would imagine that regardless of the technology, there has to be a manual entry point, because, the power's out or something. Like, what do you do? So I'm looking at it from the mechanical side of things, like looking for an entry panel to mess with.
Okay. Yeah. You are just going to try and work directly on the engine itself, which means I will allow you to do your manual hacker fix directly on the device.
Perfect. Okay. Just a basic roll, no difficulty or anything?
Nope.
All right. Roll that footage. 12.
12. On a 12, you're able to figure out how to get it working. You do believe that you can start the process. The process is slow, and it is meant for removing large objects from the factory. There's not really ground level exit from it. So you can pull it aside. You will still need to figure out how to get out through it. So basically, I'm saying you figured out how to make this work. When you start this engine, because now you know how to override it, it will make a lot of noise.
Okay.
It will be a big thing.
Sure.
And you will have to figure out how to get to the opening because it's not on the ground floor.
Where is the opening?
It is up. Like I said, it is like the side of the building kind of like opens up, and then cranes come down and pick up the ship parts and then take them out of the factory. So it's like, imagine an elevated window, but that window is half of the factory wall and ceiling.
Man, it would sure be great if I had a grapple gun for this, right?
I mean, grapple hook would be so useful here.
Man, I should get one of those.
Like the first thing that Evelyn runs into after she loses the grapple.
No, it's perfect. I love it. Can I delay the engine activating? Like, can I put that on a timer or?
No, because this is all mechanical. Maybe if you had a digital work for this, you could do that. You could set up like a activate in X, minutes or something. Because of you're just getting in there, you will have to start the engine like that. There's no way around that part.
I'm just imagining like a really long rope, and I just tied the one end and climb up and then pull the rope. I'm not actually doing that. How would I reach up there? Like, I guess that's the first problem I need to solve, is like that'll determine how much time I need. Is there like a ladder or
I mean, there's no ladder just sitting around.
Okay. I think it's the first step of this problem, is I need to figure out how I would even get up there in the first place. So can I just search for a route, like either like climbing crates or parkour, or like I'm just trying to figure out what I can do.
I think you come up with the solution that you think makes sense. Are you going to like try and parkour around some like crates to get up to the opening? Are you going to try and like take hold of one of like the little worker stations to see if you can be on like one of those little arms, like activate an arm to like reach out over there and then like beam walk across that out? Like, you come up with a solution and I'll tell you what the check is.
I think I like the arm solution better, because I'm trying to think like what's the fastest point from A to B is maybe I can arrange the arms or something so that I can go along the girders to the exit.
Okay. Yeah, we can go ahead and figure out you trying to get the like worker's arm rotated around to like reach out the side of the building.
Yeah.
It is kind of like operating a little crane device. You kind of know how to do these kinds of things, but honestly, you worked more in your mech than you did in these kind of facilities when you were a miner.
Okay.
You are able to determine how to move the crane arm around, but it is meant to work on the construction, not meant to aid in the removal of the device from the building. You imagine that was the external crane's job. You can try to get it lined up the best you can with where you think you can get to try and escape the facility. That will cost a check, because you're going to have to figure out how to get it set up ahead of time before you go do the engine thing.
Okay. Yeah. Let me do a check for that.
This is kind of going to be a guess and check situation.
Right.
You won't know there's a problem until you try to use it.
Creative engineering, perhaps?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's see what I get. 25.
On a 25, you're able to get in one of the little control stations. You're able to operate the controls in such a way that you've lined up one of the arms with where you think the walls are going to open to like allow the cranes to come get the ship part. You think you've identified what side it opens from, so you've kind of like lined it up with the part of the side that opens first. It is relatively high up there, but like it's as flat as you can make it, being hovering in the air. So it doesn't look like you're going to have to like go up or down a very steep grade to do this.
Can I do a practice run just to see how hard it is to get up there? Like, I don't want to activate it and find out like it's super difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do a practice run.
Yeah, I'll just go. I won't activate the engine quite yet, but I will walk over to the engine, then go from the engine to the door and see how difficult my path is.
Okay, Evelene. So you walk over to the engine to like get like lined up to see like what is my route gonna have to be while I'm doing this. Do you have anything that would allow you to notice something?
You mean like any obstacles, you mean?
Notice something that you might see out of the corner of your eye.
I do not have any observation-based
Spot,
abilities.
basically.
I need to get spots.
Yeah, I think only one of you has something like that.
I'm
so,
making a
Evelene,
note.
just make me a flat pilot check, please.
I'm making a note to learn spot. That sounds like something that'd be useful to have. Okay, so just a regular d20. 8, probably no.
Okay, cool. So what happens then, Chimera, is like you walk over to the engine, you're like very focused on your solution. Your head is in the game. You're like, okay, I'm gonna get out of this fucking factory. Okay, I got my pictures. Here's the engine. I figure out how to hack into it. I got the arm lined up there. I think the door opens up there. And you're like going through your plan in your head as you walk over to the engine. It's like, okay, I'm gonna start here. And then you start to think about, okay, I'm gonna walk through. This is what and you're planning out your route and you're seeing if it's doable in a way that's not too difficult. And then as you're kind of like, I don't know if you talk to yourself or you're just running through this in your head. What do you think, Evelene? As you're like going along this pathway, what does the camera see Evelene doing?
I think she's not talking full sentences to herself. I think she's just making little comments like, okay, gotta watch out for that. Oh, there's that. Oh, sharp corner. There's a banana peel, like stuff like that.
All right, and then you go, okay, and then I need to watch out for that. I need to make sure I close this door because there's like a little door for like a little area that keeps like swinging open, and it will be kind of in your path. It's not, you don't have to worry about it too much, and you're like, okay, and you say to yourself, okay, I need to watch out for that, and as you pointed it to almost like confirm for yourself, I need to watch out from that. The wind gets knocked out of you as all of a sudden you go, as you are thrown to the ground by an incredible force. And we'll pick up from there the next session.
Oh, okay.
All right, well.
Oh boy.
We'll see what that danger is and what the rest of our crew is getting up to when we come back. And we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.